This is Pat Soundbites Unplugged. Unplugged. The podcast where all the artists go to tell it as it is. Careers, music, tours, and more. And here's your host, the man that refuses to eat squid, Pat Calamari.
Pat Calamari here, host of Pat Soundbites Unplugged for Monday. Music Madness Monday for February the 24th, 2020, episode number 43. Things are going good, and we're continuing to having folks download and follow Pat Soundbites Unplugged, and I can't thank all the folks enough for that. Hopefully you had a great weekend. I know I certainly had a wonderful weekend. You know, this episode is really special, and when I say I am blessed, I am really blessed, and it took me a while to really think about what I want to say as an intro for this guest. You know, it's not every day you get to talk to, label it as a real rock legend. Somebody that was around in the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, and even now in 2020, working as hard as he started from the beginning. He has certainly seen it all. And when you listen to the episode, I introduce him as one of rock's greatest drummers of all time. And I am blessed and fortunate that over the last few years we have met. We have spoken numerous times on the phone. In fact, we talk rather weekly, as I am one of his friends in this type of business, radio business and podcast that he calls. And I'm glad to call him a friend. I'm glad I can support him. And when I look back and reflect on what he has been through and what he has seen, and it's just mind-boggling. I'm talking about Carmine Appice. Carmine, from the beginning of his days as getting into the drums, was more of a jazz influence. Was a Buddy Rich. His big hero is Buddy Rich, and his days with Vanilla Fudge, and the list goes on and on. The drummers of the modern day world that we know of, you know. Led Zeppelin opened for Vanilla Fudge, and he's credited with influencing such great rock drummers from Iron Maiden's Nico McBrain, Aerosmith's Joey Kramer, Roger Taylor of Queen, Phil Collen, the late great Rush Neil Peart. I mean, the list goes on and on. Tommy Lee, and obviously John Bonham, and it's incredible, the folks that look to Carmine. I mean, Carmine's one of the first drummers I got a chance to interview, and I was really taken back and learned so much about him. He, you know, used the sticks the opposite way, with the fat end, hitting the drums with the fat end, holding the thin end, and his different methods that people follow. You know, he had a best-selling drum instruction book, The Realistic Rock Drum Method, that was, I guess, published back in 1972. He wrote all kinds of drum books, and given lessons. You know, Vanilla Fudge. This year is the 50th anniversary of the great rock band Cactus that he formed. He was involved with a band called King Cobra. He had Jeff Beck, Tim Bogart in a piece. He was in Rod Stewart. He co-wrote Do You Think I'm Sexy, the hit back in 1978. He's played with the Rascals. He's got the Appice or Apathy Brothers, however you want to say it, with him and Vinny. He does the Drum Wars. He's a drummer that put together a bunch of crazy tracks labeled Guitar Zeus. Great tracks featuring top rock guitarists. I mean, Guitar Zeus 1 has got like 20 tracks, and there's another one with another 12 tracks. He's on so many albums. Everybody wants him. I interviewed John Anderson of Yes. John had a new album out, 1,000 Hands, Chapter 1. And guess what? I find a track that Carmine's involved with. He, toured with Ozzy. He's seen it all firsthand. He's got a book, Stick It, My Life of Sex, Drums, and Rock and Roll. I mean, it's insane to sit here and think of what he has accomplished, what he's seen the music business evolve over the decades. And I talk to him weekly, and he's still the busiest, hardest working guy out there. He's a manager now. He started as a mentor and a manager of a young band, a great young band called Kodiak. We Are Kodiak. And he's trying to get them out there. He's seen the days of where vinyl was big, and then the cassette era, and then the CDs, and now this whole downloading and Spotify, and he's seen it all. He's been through it all, and he's still going strong and better than ever. It's really cool. And like I said, when I'm blessed, I am blessed to be able to say that I have a friend who's very respected in the music business, that every time I interview an artist and his name pops up, everybody goes, "Oh, Carmine, Carmine this." And then you add Vinny to the mix, and you put the two of them together, and it's a comedy show. And Vinny, is an incredible guitar player, an incredible drummer, as well as Carmine. And you got to check them out when they get together and do Drum Wars. And I can go on, but I'm just flattered that I have this relationship with this real, true rock legend. You don't have to be, although I know he would like to, because we spoke about it, but you don't have to be known as a rock and roll, selected into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. The music lovers that follow me and my friends know, how many bands that have sold millions and millions of records, and or a popularity contest, and they get all of a sudden selected. I'm not a fan of the Rock Hall of Fame. I could care less. They need to change it, and that's for another episode. But Carmine is a Rock Hall of Famer. I don't care if he doesn't have his name in a building in Cleveland. He doesn't need that. He doesn't need that on his resume. But I had a chance I said to Carmine, I need you to get on my podcast. And he's like, yeah, man, let's do it. So it's a quick chat, only like 10 or 15 minutes of everything of what he's doing. What we talked on Friday, and we talk regularly, and I'll get him on more, and I'll try to get him and Vinny together, and I support him. The guy's a great guy, and check him out, buy his book. His book is a history of everything that he's been through, and it's a great autobiography. And he's still working as hard as he did when it all started. So support this wonderful rock legend with an exclamation point. There's no doubt about this. As I always say, live, love, and laugh a lot, because life is way, way too short. Enjoy my good conversation with my friend, one of rock, if not rock's greatest drummer of all time, Mr. Carmine Appice.
Hi, this is Carmine Appice, and you're listening to Pat Soundbites Unplugged. So keep rocking, dude.
WBXO Classic Rock Redefined in conjunction with Pat Soundbites Unplugged. An honor. I get to talk to him all the time, but finally getting him on the podcast. One of rock's greatest drummers of all time and one of the busiest guys in the music business, my good friend Carmine Appice. Carmine, what's going on, man?
Hey, dude. How you doing? I'm just in New Jersey here. I was checking out a studio to work in, a really wild-looking studio, and I spent the last couple of hours here hanging out with the guys and checking the studio out, playing them some music, listening to what they're doing. Just so I have another place to record if I need it, you know?
Yeah, no, it's good. And, man, 2020 is looks like it's gonna be a busy year for you. Cactus celebrating 50th year and a new CD and a new logo. Tell me about this.
Yeah, well, we've been recording an album for, I don't even know how long it's been. It's been a while. And we've been recording this album, and, we finally, said, we've got to do some gigs, so let's finish this album, let's do some gigs. So the album isn't finished yet, but we decided to do some gigs just to get it going again,
Yeah.
I think it's been about 2 years since we've done anything with Cactus, and I don't want people to forget it. So we're in this kind of rebuilding mode, and rebuilding, from everything, from doing a new records, from putting the gigs together, new marketing, new website, new logo, new T-shirts. We got everything, moving forward now. I got new T-shirts that look really awesome, and so this week especially, I've been having meetings, some marketing meetings with people that want to help, with the marketing of Cactus. And we come up with utilizing what Atlanta called it in 1970, the American Led Zeppelin.
Wow.
As the marketing guy said, using that term now means something a lot more than it meant in 1970.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we're going to put that on the top of all the advertising that we're doing for the gigs. And when the album comes out, we're going to use that as well. So, so we're doing all that stuff now with Cactus. And I think around March 6th, I'm going into the studio in Long Island. Randy Pratt, our harmonica player, has got a studio that we record in. And I'm going to be doing some percussion stuff, shakers and tambourines and that kind of stuff,
And the album is called Tightrope?
It's called Tightrope, and all we have to do left on it is a few overdubs.
Okay.
Guitars and a few background vocals and some percussion. And then it'll be ready to mix.
Excellent.
There's going to be a couple of bonus tracks. There's going to be a new analog mastered version of one of the songs from the last album with McCarty on it. And then there's going to be another song with McCarty on it that has the vocalist from Talent on it.
Wow.
Phil Morrow, who's a great vocalist, and he heard the track and wanted to write some lyrics and melodies to it, so we let him do it, and it came out great. So we're just going to throw it on as a bonus track. So we'll have a couple of tracks with McCarty on it as well, and 10 new tracks with the band that we have now with Paul Warren, Jimmy Coons, James Computer, and Randy Pratt.
Nice, and I see there's 5 dates listed already out in Detroit on Friday, March the 13th at the Token Lounge, and Reggie's in Chicago on the 14th, and the Acadia Theater in St. Charles, Illinois on the 15th, and then 2 shows down here in the city at the Iridium, and then your Rochester on April 2nd, and Sellersville Theater in Pennsylvania on the 5th. Is
Right.
By any chance, is Jimmy McCarty going to be able to show or, do anything with the Detroit show?
He'll probably show up in Detroit. He usually does and play, a little bit, maybe in a couple of tracks, a couple of songs, whatever he wants to do. And because Paul Warren, is a big fan, he's from Detroit too, Paul. Paul's playing the fame when he was 17, but he played on Pop Is Like the Rolling Stones.
Oh, okay.
With Temptation. So we have to redid it now, done Cactus style. And I would think Jimmy would play. He ain't going to go out of town. He doesn't go out of town anymore. That's why he's not on the record anymore. So he can't travel. He's had some health issues that prevent him from traveling.
Right. You mentioned that to me once before, and I'm glad I got to see him play with you guys when a few years back when you guys played over at Brian's barbecue when Jimmy was still doing okay. Yep. But, well, that's cool. So that's news. New logo, new T-shirts, and a new CD. Well, and it's going to be vinyl too, right, Carmine?
Yeah, there will be vinyl too for what I'm understanding. The labels that are interested, that's part of what they do today. They do vinyl on it. and we're even going to have a video.
Oh, good. I was going to ask that too. And then you wrapped up a little bit of a few gigs with Vinny doing the Drum Wars, and I know that went really well.
Yep, that went really well, and we're gonna try and start recording some demos with their new record deal. I'm talking to a guy in LA for me and Vinny and for Kodiak.
Oh, nice.
It's a good-sized label, and they're really interested in Kodiak. And I met him at the Heavy Metal Hall of Fame. And so he sent me some texts, and so what we did was we had Kodiak flying out to L.A. to play for the president, the head owner of the label, that really wants to see him along with the A&R guy. So he loves the videos, he loves the songs. So hopefully when he sees them play live, they'll start talking about signing them. And then also I got him interested in me and Vinny as well.
Very cool. Yeah, I know. Those guys are really good guys. I mean, Eric does a great job, Pete, and I can't think of the other two guys, but to get the chance to...
Chris and PJ.
Okay, and to get the chance to open up for Vinny and last in line at the Whiskey, I mean, you can't get any better than that. So I know they're gonna hit the ball out of the park. We're talking about Carmine's kind of mentoring this band and started helping them out, and they're really great. It's called Kodiak, and I've been playing tracks off of them for a while.
I'm considered their manager now, and they're producing way beyond mentoring now.
Okay. And then we got Vanilla Fudge. I see the Flower Power cruise in Miami or something.
Right. That starts at the end of March, I believe.
Right, the end of March.
I'm not doing it. I don't go out of the country anymore due to the health issues I had.
Okay.
So I have a guy that plays with Charlie. He plays truck on the cruise for the Fudge. He does a good job.
Okay.
And so I'm like the guy that doesn't go to Europe anymore.
Well, hey, your health. That's all we have is our health. So, and you had a kind of scary situation the last time out there. So, guess what? I don't blame you. If that's the way it's got to be, stay in the States.
It ain't worth it.
Yeah, no, it's not worth it. And then we got Guitar Zeus.
Yes, Guitar Zeus is actually doing okay. I'm getting a good amount of hits on the Guitar Zeus album. I got 30 tracks on iTunes and 30 tracks on Spotify. I got CDs with 12 tracks. I got vinyl with 8 tracks. So it's all going pretty good for Guitar Zeus.
And the video is great. The one Nobody Knew featuring Brian May. I'm looking at it now. It's got over 55,000 views, and we had it on our website for some time, and I keep playing that track. So that's all good stuff.
That's a great track, and the plan was originally to have Brian May put it up on his social media because he's got millions of people on his social media. And he told me he would do that, but he hasn't done it yet. So, I'm waiting if he ever picks it up, it's going to get a big boost.
Yeah, no, that'll help. And, it's all about the numbers. We get you on my podcast, and I know if you put it out, I'll tag you to it, and I know all your fans and folks would like to listen and hear what's going on and what's new and exciting, so that's all good. Anything going on with King Cobra?
No, not really. King Cobra would take a lot of work to get it started again because, the guitar player that we were using as the second guitar player in place of Mick, he's joining Rat. He's in Rat, and Rat is doing fantastic right now.
Okay.
So he wouldn't be in it. Then I have to find another guitar player. I mean, everybody lives in different cities, so it would be, a lot of work to get a rehearsal together. And a budget that you need to get a rehearsal together. That's why everybody into one place in these hotels, and it's a very expensive process.
No, I hear you. Any other projects that we can help promote for you?
No, that's pretty much it right now. Like I said, we got Guitar Zeus, Kodiak, Vanilla Fudge, and Drum Wheel. That's pretty much what I do.
And then and then of course you still got your book, Stick It, right? We got to promote Stick It, which is great.
I don't promote it a lot, but my next book I think is going to be called Guitar Zeus, the book. It's going to be all about all the different guitar players I played with.
Yeah, it's like 21 tracks. What drummer puts out a guitar record? I mean, with great guitarists, every one of them is like one better than the other. It's like you made a phone call and everybody wants to be on it. The last time we talked, you were getting ready to do Guitar Zeus #2.
Yeah, I mean, I did Guitar Zeus 1, which had 12 tracks, and I did Guitar Zeus 2, which had 12 tracks. Then I did Guitar Zeus Japan that had 12 tracks, and Guitar Zeus Korea that had 12 tracks. So, you know, from all those tracks, I ended up with the Guitar Zeus I have now with bonus tracks. It has like 32 tracks on Spotify and 32 tracks on YouTube. Not on YouTube. Oh, it is on YouTube. 32 tracks on iTunes.
Nice.
The terrible thing about it with this YouTube, like I just did this in the studio. I went in the studio, and the guy wanted to hear some of the guitars here, so we just pulled it up on YouTube. So you get people that just pull it up on the computer on YouTube for nothing,
Right.
and hear it, so they don't have to buy it.
Yeah, I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate it. That I do not. You work too hard. Nobody does their work for free, and that's. I'll say it. That's all bullshit. And I always tell the folks, buy it, buy it, buy it. Especially if you're a supporter and love music. And you got some great Neil Sean, Brian May, Slash, Ted Nugent, Edgar Winter, Leslie West. I mean, the list goes on and on of the folks that contributed on this thing. Vivian Campbell, of course, and just really good stuff.
And I have to pay them all.
Yeah, right. You're paying them all, and the people are stealing it for free. I can't believe the industry, the artist industry, hasn't put a squash to this. How sad is that? I mean, you know, it's a killer.
Well, they say that the YouTube is in place of radio. But even on radio, you got paid something when you get played on the radio, you know?
Yeah.
YouTube, it depends on who puts it up. I mean, I put up Guitar Zeus, and I can tell you, you know, with all the hits and all the different songs and these videos, I mean, we made $300.
No, it's ridiculous. I mean, I know I'm not the only guy out there playing new music on the radio, and we pay our royalties, and we do the right thing. And more, I got more listeners because we do play the new stuff, because nobody else does. Just sad.
Terrible.
All right, my man.
Yeah, it's really bad.
Well, I thank you for your time and your phone call and everything going on. I hope you have a great weekend, whatever you are going to work on this week, and look forward to chatting with you next week.
Okay, man, you got it, and have fun, play some good music on the podcast, and we'll have a good time, all right?
All right, man, and share it with me once I tag it with you. I appreciate it.
Okay, bro, you got it.
It doesn't get any better than this. WBXO and Pat's Soundbites Unplugged podcast, the amazing Carmine Appice.